Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing really well. Today, I want to talk to you about a couple of skills that I hope will find helpful in the classroom and maybe even outside of the classroom. And this is for those of us who are starting high school to those of us who can see graduation and you can almost touch it. So to get started, what I would love for you to do is I want you to think about those skills that are necessary to be successful in a classroom. So with that, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to talk with your neighbor, come up with a mental list of those skills that you find help you be successful. All right, your 30 seconds begin now. All right. I hope as you were discussing that you might have talked about organization, because we know that in school we need to be organized. We need to know how to take effective notes. We need to know how to discuss, just like you were trying to do right there, in partnerships or small groups or full class discussions. And then also we need to find that motivation to work independently. So here's a couple of items, and I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page with them and hopefully take something away. So another moment for you to talk is I'd love for you to think about, okay, which one of those items, and I'll put them back on the screen in just a minute, do you find is a strength for you? Okay, kind of talk about why it's a strength for you, what works for you, and then what is something that you struggle with that hopefully through some of the tips that I provide today that you can improve on. Okay, you're going to talk to your neighbor. You're going to have about a minute to minute and a half to do that. So again, here is the list. Talk about it with your neighbor. What's a strength and what's a weakness? I'll be right back in about a minute and a half. All right, that was just a little over a minute. Hope you're able to talk about some of your successes. And then, and even if you kind of feeling like you're struggling with all of them, that's okay, because we all need to start somewhere, right? So all of these things are called executive functioning. You don't need to remember that, but that's what these skills are called. All right, and so our agenda today is to learn a bit about these skills, maybe finding a couple of tips you can start working on right away. You're going to be discussing with your partners or small groups on how to make these skills work for you. And then we're going to reflect and set a goal. So it's pretty easy, right? So the first one, the first thing I need you to know that as at the end of this lesson, you're going to need that piece of paper or note card that your teacher has given to you or will be giving to you, and something to write with. Okay, then we're all prepared. So first one, organization, right? Whether it's in your backpack or your desktop, organization is going to save you a lot of time. All right. Each of your classes demands that you find something, whether it's in your laptop, maybe a piece of paper, something to write with, a handout from the previous day, a document that you started last night as homework and you're going to finish it in class. Anything, they want you to put your hands on something pretty quickly, right? So when you have some sort of organizational skills, preparing for class and staying up to date isn't a big deal. If you don't, it becomes overwhelming and we kind of put our hands up and we want to give up, right? So think about your backpack, think about your laptop. How do you organize your school stuff, right? Think about what works for you. And what did you start with at the beginning of the year that, yeah, you're not even using anymore, right? So let's think about that. And let's start with our backpacks. So with our backpack organization, just keep it simple. Okay, the more elaborate, the more, cute and beautiful or, whatever, the less likely you're going to keep it up if it's not simple to use. And then why do you have it if you're not keeping it up? So think about like a 3-ring binder with tabs and pockets, really basic, but it's really helpful. Maybe a folder for each class, or one of those accordion folders that you can put your papers in instead of shoving it in your backpack and it becomes this, this mound of paper at the bottom, right? I've seen them. I know some of you have those. Or just a pencil pouch so you can grab a writing utensil really quickly and you're not bugging your neighbor or trying to find something in the, the bottom of your Mary Poppins backpack. With your desktop, the screen that shows up when you first log in, a clean desktop creates this sense of calm, right? When it's filled with chaotic documents and files, that's exactly how our brain feels as well. We're in chaos, right? Organized and well-named folders and files are going to help you find what you need quickly without the stress of trying to, go through all of these things that don't mean anything. Because if you keep everything in one folder, let's just say, like I would keep it in my folder, bows, right? And then I open it up and it has all the documents for all the classes I teach. Oh my gosh, how would I ever find them? Especially if we're just keeping the name that the computer gives us, document 1, document 153, whatever it is. We want to make sure that we have something that works, that you can find it right away. So keeping an organized and well-named folders as well as your files are going to help you out in the long run big time. Okay, so organization is one. Taking notes is another. So finding a system that works for you is really important. I know teachers give you parameters that maybe you need to follow for them, but if they just say, all right, guys, take out a piece of paper or open up your laptop and we're going to take notes. If you don't have a system, it can be overwhelming. So if you're using your laptop, okay, and that causes a distraction because you're opening up all these extra tabs, you're watching videos, maybe it's time to go back to old school and handwrite your notes. Some teachers are asking us to write notes because we know that can be a distraction. Other times the choice is yours. Make a smart choice, okay? One of the ways you can do that is creating an outline, and that's what I use a lot of times because that is the quickest and most efficient way to obtain a lot of information, right? Think about those PowerPoint slides that your teachers give you. There's a heading, there's some information, and you can just go thought for thought, not word for word all the time, right? And this can be done both electronically and handwritten. So whichever way you choose, you can always come up with a way that outlining works for you. Another way that is a great way to take notes is what's called Cornell notes. All right, and that's kind of what you see on the page. So it's a 2-column format where the left-hand side is like the information that your teacher is giving you, and the right-hand side are your takeaways, your quick notes, your abbreviations. So let's say you're in math and you're at the beginning of a unit and your teacher's giving you these formulas. The formulas would go on the left, right? You write down the formula, and then on the right, you're writing out all of these great hints and helpful ways that your teacher is giving you to remember how to use that formula. All right, so now you have both the formula, the information your teacher is giving you, and you can find how they meet and how they work together. All right, so again, outlining, and then this 2-column way to do things and called Cornell notes. All right. The next thing that we use in our classroom is discussions. A lot of your classes are discussion based, right? Turn and talk, small group, large group. When we have those, this is going to require that you're actively listening and then you're willing to speak your ideas. And it can be really high risk. I understand that some of us don't like to speak our ideas, but it shouldn't keep us from trying. We shouldn't stay mute just because it's hard. We need to kind of overcome that a little bit, right? And some of the ways that we can do that when the time comes is during the lesson, make sure you're paying close attention to what your teacher's talking about. Don't be dreading the upcoming discussion or freaking out that you're not going to have the right things to say. Jot down what they're saying, even if they don't ask you to take notes. I know. No notes required. We're not going to do it. But really think about it. If you have your notes, you really don't need to worry about remembering all the important ideas because they're going to be written down right there. Okay. So the stress of having to speak isn't going to take away the information that you're learning because you have it in front of you. Jot them down, even if your teacher doesn't ask you to take notes. Another idea is if you can speak first, go for it. Because when you put your ideas out there first, before someone else, you don't need to worry about comparing your thoughts with someone else's and seeing if they match or whatever. It keeps you from having to come up with a plan B if someone takes your idea. And then also, bonus is this allows you to add more later because you've started that conversation, not anybody else. You did. All right. So that kind of gives you control. It's a pretty cool feeling, right? It's going to build confidence in speaking aloud in front of people when you can get that when we're talking with each other in smaller groups. And this works in situations when your teacher asks you to speak with a partner, and share in a small group, or even those dreaded words, Socratic seminar, right? So don't freak out about whatever situation you're in that you have to speak. Just make sure that you understand that your thoughts are valuable. We all want to be heard, right? Don't compare what you have to say with someone else because you're going to have a different view on some things, and that's awesome. All right. Think about speaking first. So we're going to put it into practice. This is what I would love for you to do. You're going to have 3 minutes, and teachers, you get to choose how you want them to do it. You can do full class, partners, small groups, however your classroom is set up. So I would love for you to name a time where you felt like you were really comfortable talking in a group, whether it's small or large. What helped you feel that way? Maybe naming a trick of the trade that really got you there. What helps you feel comfortable speaking? And then what is one thing that you hope to overcome when you're faced with a group discussion again? Maybe it's not your strength, but you want to overcome this one thing. So again, you're going to have 3 minutes. Teachers, if you need more time, always hit pause, just to talk with the people around you to figure out, okay, how am I doing in these situations where I'm asked to share my ideas? All right, your 3 minutes begin now. All right, that's about 3 minutes. I hope you were able to have some good conversations, and just finding out that, first of all, you're not alone if you're struggling. Second of all, I hope you're able to hear from other people who have found that success in small groups, because we know that we're going to be talking in class often. All right. Last idea or thing that skill that we need is to find that motivation when we're working on our own. So we've all been there. It's the last period of the day. Your teacher is giving you this incredible gift of time, and you have no motivation to complete anything worthwhile. We've been there, right? What do you do, right? So instead of turning to your phone to pacify exhaustion or watching all the YouTube videos that you thought you missed during the day, I want you to follow these instructions when the time comes, not this very moment, when the time comes. I want you to open up a blank document or turn to a page in your notebook. Okay. And then I want you to start listing all the things that need to be finished between now and the next time you're in your school, whether it's tomorrow morning or Monday morning if it's a Friday afternoon. Then go to the list and choose one. It can be the easiest thing on your list, but I want you to choose one and complete it. Okay. Because if you complete a task, you are more likely to continue working. That's right. Continue and keep working, because the more you finish, the more you're going to want to finish. It's really addicting. And starting is the hardest thing to do in this whole process. It's the hardest thing to do. So motivation is not going to come when you waste, or we waste, I'll put myself in there because I do the same thing, when we waste our time on brainless activities. It arrives when we have a sense of accomplishment. We all know the burden that it can be that when we sit down to go and do something and we don't do it, we walk into class the next period, we walk into class the next day, it's not finished and it's just weighing on us, right? If you read that phrase on the left, nothing will make you feel better except doing the work, and you believe that, it's going to go much better for all of us. So again, when our teacher gives us that gift of time, whether it's 5, 50 minutes, whatever it is, start listing the things you need to do, choose one, and it can be the easiest, and just get her done, okay? Because that's going to keep us motivated to keep getting other things done, all right? It may seem simple, but it really works. All right, so we've just covered 4 skills. Organization, taking notes, small group discussions, and finding that motivation to do the independent work. What I would love for you to do is just kind of sit there in a moment and reflect on your success with each of these skills. This is a big deal, all right? When you're finding success in these skills, which you might think are small, it's a great foundation for bigger things, all right? I have a quote on my wall that says, "A little progress every day leads to something big." These are the little things that we can find success in. So reflect on that. Where's your success? All right. Now, what I would love for you to do is to choose one skill that you want to improve, and then write a goal statement. This is where your writing utensil and your piece of paper or note card come in handy, all right? So the goal statement that I gave is, before next Monday, I will organize the filing system on my laptop so that I can officially keep and find assignments, documents, and notes. 2 things in there that are key to a successful goal setting statement. A time stamp. When are you going to have it done, right? And then being very specific, okay? I'm going to organize it so I can find those things, okay? So again, in organization and in note-taking, in small group discussions, or in motivation, what goal can you set for yourself that is going to help you in the long run? All right, are we good? Awesome. I hope you have an incredible day, and thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.